I now call to order the January 23rd, 2023 meeting of the New Caney Independent School District Board of Trustees at 6:10. Let the minutes show that a quorum is present with all members in attendance. Please rise for the invocation to be given by Ms. Brickrell and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and honor the Texas flag to be given by Ms. Sharp.
Please bow your heads. Dear Jesus, thank you for the opportunity to be here today and serve you and make decisions that are best for our students and our district. Guide us in our direction today, and please be with those in law enforcement and those serving abroad, and take care of our students today and every day. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Very good. All right, item 2 on the agenda is recognitions. It's by Mr. Calvert. Got Colony here tonight.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize, can I turn around and face my back, having my back to people? I just wanted to take a moment to recognize some amazing students and staff members at Pine Valley. I'm Keisha Colley, the very proud principal here, and we're going to start with Callie Simpson. Oh, absolutely. Fantastic idea. We have Alea Gilbert, Jonathan Gauthier, and then some of our staff members, Angela Moak, Irma Granados, Elizabeth Sanchez, and Joshua Busa. So Callie's being recognized for a fine arts student. She does a fantastic job in orchestra. Ms. Pagano, thank you so much for coming to support her and us. This was a group effort. When it was time to announce these awards, I really didn't want it to just be for me. As you know, I'm a couple months in, new at Pine Valley, and some of these students have been here longer than I have. And so I thought it was really important for us to just put that out there and see who's demonstrating everything we expect to see at Pine Valley every day. And so when we got these names back, it almost was a clear, easy vote. From the very beginning, they've always showed aspects that it takes to truly be a Mustang, and I'm so proud to have the opportunity to be their principal. So, Katie, thank you so much. This is our CTE student. What is amazing about her is that she really, it's CTE, but also it's college readiness. And so when Miss Washington, her teacher, presented this award for her, she said, the reason I want her to get it is because she does a fantastic job striving to make sure she's prepared for college. And I think that although CTE is a great opportunity for our students, it's also amazing to just honor our students that really, really want to make sure they make it to the next level, even after high school. We've gone even here for our athletic students. This is for men and women, our young men and girls. What's amazing is not only is he an amazing athlete, but he's just an overall amazing person. In the classroom, in the hallways, and on the court. Thank you, Ms. Moak here. She does a fantastic job feeding our children every day. The smile on her face, let's take some of the cafeteria. It is absolutely amazing to know that every single person that contributes to our students at Pine Valley makes a difference. Irma Granados is not here tonight, and neither was the Sanchez. Something really awesome about her is our paraprofessional. She started her next semester in school. So she's a paraprofessional now, and she's definitely soon to hopefully be a Mustang teacher one day in the near future. And Mr. Busa, formerly known as he's been around in the district at high school level, but he got to Pine Valley before I did. When I got on the roster, I was honored that he was back. He did an amazing job. I was so excited to be able to work with him. So these other people that are being recognized, the board, I will thank you guys for helping us. Not every day do I get to show up.
All right, and January is School Board Appreciation Month. We definitely appreciate these folks up here and all they do for us every day. Got Mr. Carlisle here, as well as some of our other principals to give them some special, well-deserved recognition. Mr. Carlisle, it is all you, sir.
So I'd like to give a special thank you this evening on behalf of our new Caney ISD administrators. We hope that this evening you feel appreciation that you truly deserve. You put the needs of our students first and have made a powerful difference in our community, way further than you will ever know. Thank you for your dedication that you've poured into making New Caney ISD a shining star and for continuing to support us in all of our pursuit as we pursue excellence. So just thank you very much for all that y'all do.
Thank you, sir. Item 3 on the agenda is consideration of the 2021-2022 annual financial report presented by Justin Newby.
Good evening. Thank y'all for having us here tonight, and thank y'all for letting Weaver do the audit again this year. My name is Justin Newby, and I'm an audit manager there. I've been on the account for a couple of years now, so I'm getting pretty familiar with the district. Kind of going through my presentation here, we issued 2 opinions this year, one on the financial statements and the other on compliance with major programs. Both of those opinions were clean opinions, which is as good as we can get. That's the highest level of assurance that the standards allow us to give. On the financial statement audit, it was conducted in accordance with the auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America and the government auditing standards, which are issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. For the major program compliance, there were 2 major programs that we focused our testing on this year. The first of those is the Special Education Cluster, and the second is the COVID-19 Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, also known as ESSER. And there were no issues found in either one of those audits on no instances of noncompliance. Second, we got some required communications with governance. So the first here is Weaver has a responsibility. This is our responsibility in relation to the financial statement audit, is to form and express an opinion on the financial statements, which, as I just said before, we gave clean, unmodified opinions this year. We have a requirement to be independent of the district, and we've remained independent throughout this audit, and we have been since the start. We have a few aspects of financial reporting that we need to report on. The first is any new standards that the district adopted. The first is GASB 87, which is an accounting and financial reporting for leases. There wasn't a material impact on the district, and so nothing huge to report there. There was some accounting estimates, which we are also required to report on. The first is the allowance for uncollectible taxes. The district has had no problem collecting taxes in the past. It's not a big number. It's just a required estimate that we have to put in here. And then foundation school program revenue, and the net pension and OPEB liability, which is really calculated by actuaries, and we can kind of use their reports to come up with that number. So, continuing on here, a few items that we would need to report if there were any, but there's nothing to note here. Would be significant difficulties encountered, any uncorrected or corrected misstatements, any disagreements with management. Management's always been great to work with, and we enjoy coming out here and doing the audit, so no problems there. And that's pretty much it from there. These next few pages are kind of a summary of results for the district for the year. So the first one here is the general fund. You can see the general fund had $182 million of revenues this year, and offset by about $165 million of expenditures, which represents an increase of about $18 million for the year. There's a few bullet points here as to why that happened. So the first is the availability of ESSER funding. So I kind of previously mentioned that one of the major programs was ESSER. So the district reported about 16 million of ESSER expenditures in the current year on the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. So that helped offset some of the general expenses of the district. In performance against budget, the district also outperformed budget by about $13 million. Most of that was some additional state funding in excess of budget and federal revenues for some of the miscellaneous items like shares and E-rate and ROTC funding, outperformed budget by about $3 million. And at the end of the year, the general fund has unassigned fund balance. I think it was, or total fund balance is about $60 million, which represents about 4.5 months of operating expenses. And 4 months of those are unassigned, basically not allocated to anything at this particular point. So the debt, going on to the debt service fund, not a lot to note here, $31 million of revenues offset by about $31 million of expenditures. Most of that's tax revenues and offset by the debt service requirements there on bond issuances. Then going on to the capital projects fund, about 63 million in capital outlay this year is the primary thing there. We've got about $50 million in fund balance at the end of the year to continue on with capital improvements in the district. And I believe that's it from my part. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to inquire further about?
Any questions?
That 100 and something page report we got. Board book was plenty explained. No detail left.
Yeah, I was hoping I didn't have to bust that one out. I've looked at it enough too. So,
Is there a motion to approve the 2021-2022 annual financial report?
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Mr. Kelly.
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask Mr. Carroll to come up to give a update on the rezoning recommendation that we'll be bringing to y'all later tonight. Just kind of the method to the madness and the students who are impacted by that.
You know, in a fast-growing school district, you can't control what happens. And we've noticed in the southern part elementary zones that Brookwood Forest was getting right up to capacity. So our committee got together and looked at some options, and the least affected more neighborhoods was we're looking at moving some apartment complexes. So we have 3 apartment complexes that would move to Ben's Branch zone that would transfer about 45 or 50 kids to Ben's Branch. They have plenty of room for that. Then we have 2 apartment complexes near US 69 that would go to Kings Manor. It's about 25 or 30 kids. The apartment complexes that are being affected for Ben's Branch are the Casey apartments, the villas, they're right there off of North Park and the HEB area. And then the new one, the Sire Kingwood, is right down the street from HEB. Those 3 would go into Ben's Branch. Some of those kids are already going to Ben's Branch for dual language, so it's just a natural progression to go back over there. And then Kings Manor, we have Mallard Creek and Paramount apartments, which are closer to the freeway. They would just go across the freeway to Kings Manor. Wouldn't put either of the campuses we're transferring to in harm, adding those students, but it'll pull some off of Brookwood there. With those kids and growth, they could be over 1,000 kids by next fall, and we don't want to be that high. So this will bring about 80 to 100 kids off of them, give them some flexibility for next school year. Any questions or?
And just so everybody knows, typical process is we reach out to those parents that are impacted. And so with an apartment complex, it was very targeted. We didn't send a mass email out to everybody. It was just those impacted families, give them a chance to provide feedback. To this date, we've received none, so everybody's okay with the change. And so, that's just typical process. That's what we're bringing that to y'all.
Go all the way down.
That's the Sire. That would be the newest one they're adding for Ben's Branch. And right now, we don't have any demographics for it because they're not finished, but we went ahead and made that change for future, so Ben's Branch can hold it better than Brookwood.
Item 5 on the agenda is open forum. No one signed up. Item 6 is closed session. The board will now meet in closed session under the authority of Texas Government Code 551.074 for the purpose of personnel matters, Government Code 551.071 for attorney consultation, and Government Code 551.072 for land development and real estate issues. Any action as a result of the closed session discussion will take place after the board reconvenes in open meeting. Time is 6:25. The board ended closed meeting at 7:58 p.m. We will now reconvene in open session. Item 7 on the agenda is reports and proposals of board members. Are there any?
Stay in honor of the Board Appreciation Month, how much I
Turn
enjoy
it on.
y'all. I thought it was on. Oh, thank you. How much I enjoy and appreciate serving with each of all y'all. So thank you for all that you do. As everyone knows, we're volunteers. So thanks.
I'm just going to discuss. I got the privilege to go with Valley Ranch to Carolina Creek this past week, and I will say that was an amazing place. Watching those kids, they had so much fun. It was such an uplifting place for me just to go one day. I traveled with Valley Ranch. There were two young men that one of them has Down syndrome and the other one is paraplegic, and they got to go and they got to play and they got to have a good time, and it was just really, really worth every minute of being there. So I will just say, if you get a chance to go and enjoy it, it's amazing. It's a great place. I have pictures if anybody wants to see some of our APs swinging on the swing, and it's a really good deal. So.
All the people get the opportunity to have like a camp like this, because not all of them, get to go to church camp or sleepaway camp that cost so much money. So it's really neat that the district gives this opportunity to everyone.
Is that it? Y'all got anything else? Item 8 on the agenda is consent calendar consisting of consideration of minutes, consideration of finance reports, consideration of purchasing reports, consideration of personnel reports, consideration of revision to policy FD local, and consideration of operation reports. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve the item on the consent calendar? Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. Item 9 on the agenda is to consider and take possible action to pursue sanctions for contract abandonment by a teacher at Valley Ranch Elementary, a teacher at Tavola Elementary, and a teacher at Porter High School, presented by Mrs. Gates.
Yes, good evening. Basically, what we have in front of you is an action item regarding 3 teachers who basically chose at the middle of the year not to return. These are classroom teaching positions, so students were impacted. We basically refer to that as contract abandonment. In meeting with each of those employees, they were not able to provide the necessary documentation to justify breaking their contract, and so that's why we're bringing that forward to you so that we can continue to try to be consistent in keeping our teachers in the classroom for our kiddos. Any questions?
Is there a motion to approve pursuing sanctions for contract abandonment by a teacher at Valley Ranch Elementary, a teacher at Tavola Elementary, and a teacher at Porter High School? So moved. Second. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is approved. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:02 p.m.